Alright, so this is my third installment of my ramblings. My friend wants me to talk more about soccer in this one, which I'm fine by. NHL's mid-swing, but nothing's really going on. NBA, nothing's really going on. Teams are still winning. And in the NFL, it's the off-season. The only thing happening there is cuts and re-signings and contracts and all that fun stuff, but I will be covering that later along with Roger Goodell. And that's the main reason why I'm making this video right now. But to start off, I'm going to start off with the soccer. I picked 5 games that I'm going to cover. Tomorrow it's going to be Real Madrid versus Man U. I have Real Madrid winning this. Real Madrid's on a hot streak. They just beat Barcelona twice in about 2 weeks. I mean, that's their rival. I don't foresee them, getting off this hot streak and losing to Man U because, you got Ronaldo. And Ronaldo's not as good as Messi, but he's as close as you're going to get to having a Messi on your team. So, Real Madrid, I have them winning that one. I have PSG beating Valencia. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, sue me. Don't pay attention to soccer. I just have PSG winning. I think they have a better overall matchup against Valencia. If they lose, I will be surprised, very surprised. So that's what's going on in that game for me. Then I have Barcelona beating Milan. Milan surprised Barcelona, beating them in their last Champions League meeting, 2-0, I believe. If I'm wrong, sorry, correct me. Barcelona is on a cold streak. They've lost 3 games in 2 weeks. Unheard of, especially when you have Lionel Messi, Puyol, Victor Valdez, PK. Can't think of anybody else off the top of my head right now. So the whole fact that if they lose to Milan again, I would be very surprised again, especially considering I think Barcelona's at home, which is a very big advantage. I have Galatasaray. Somebody corrected me on how I pronounce it. If I pronounce it wrong again, I'm never going to get it right. For Schalke. Schalke's at home. In Germany. I just see Galatasaray pulling it off because even though they're in Germany, Germany still has a lot of Turkish people there. Galatasaray is a Turkish team and probably the most loved Turkish team. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But I see Galatasaray pulling it off because they got Drogba, Burak Yilmaz, and Wesley Sneijder. And Malseta is a great goalkeeper. I'm not going to deny that. He's one of the younger ones. He's one of the better ones that I've seen. So I'm looking forward to that game. I think it's going to be close. I think Yilmaz is going to have a goal. I'm really hoping he does because right now he's atop the leaderboard with Ronaldo, who plays for Real Madrid. They both have 7 goals in 7 games, which, you don't see that very often in any sport. But unless you're watching Lionel Messi, in which case he has 91 goals this season. He's not human, so I'm not counting him. Alright, I'm not counting Messi. He's not human at all. Then I have Bayern Munich beating Arsenal. Arsenal's going to get trumped. Last week, Bayern Munich beat a team 6-1. I don't care if you're a soccer fan or not. You should know that 6 goals in 1 game is a ridiculous amount to score. Even if you have Lionel Messi on your team and you're playing LA Galaxy, you're not scoring 6 goals. You might get close to, you might get 5, but at some point a team's going to realize what you're doing and stop you. So I see Bayern Munich stomping Arsenal and moving on. A little bit of a side note here on the Galatasaray and Schalke game. Dieter Drogba, he was playing for China, for a Chinese team at the start of the year, but he said his contract was voided because the Chinese team didn't pay him at all. Now the Chinese team disputed that claim and said that they did pay him, which then would mean his contract was still valid and he couldn't play for Galatasaray, which Schalke challenged after the last match. They filed a protest or an appeal to have Drogba removed and ineligible to play, but FIFA in the UEFA, don't know what that stands for, I would tell you, investigated it, said that Galatasaray and their Turkish football, whatever the last F stands for, went by the book, and he has, I don't know what to call it, he has a permit, he's permitted to play for Galatasaray. So I think Schalke is just being more intimidated by Drogba. Even if something happens between now and their game, I don't foresee Schalke still being able to win, because you still got Snyder and you still got Yilmaz, who's on fire this season. So with Drogba, it's just a bigger advantage for Galatasaray. Without him, I still see Galatasaray winning this game. But that wraps up my soccer, because that's the extent of my knowledge. I'm going to move on to hockey, and what's hot in hockey right now are the Chicago Blackhawks. They currently have not lost a game in regulation, and they have a point in all 22 games they've played this season. Now, I'm going to explain this. In hockey, you have regulation, which is 3 15-minute periods, overtime, which is 1 5-minute period, and then you have a shootout, which is basically like a penalty kick in soccer, penalty kick round in soccer. One player, one shooter versus the goalie, and obviously whichever team scores the most wins. But you only have to score twice to actually win it once, and as long as your goalie stops them the rest of the time, you won. So Chicago, I don't know what the record is, but they haven't lost in regulation, because if you lose in regulation, you don't get a point. Alright, if you win, you get 2 points. If you lose in regulation, you don't get any. But when you go to a shootout, both teams get a point automatically. Alright, and then the winning team gets an extra point, which puts them at 2 points. Because the player that scores the winning goal in the shootout does not get credit for that goal. The credit for the goal goes to the winning team, which in turn gives them 2 points. Alright? Now, a team, when you have a full season, can actually go to the playoffs by never winning a single game. As long as they go into a shootout every game of the year and get that 1 point, which every team wants to get at least 1 point, you can make the playoffs. Now, I say full season because they were obviously on lockout for 4 months, and that obviously affects the point system and, you know, the amount of points you need to get into the playoffs and all that fun stuff. So Chicago has a point in all 22 games they played. What's real interesting is this. Last season, in the last 6 games they played, they got a point in each of those games, which has their streak up to 28. And the NHL record stands from 1979 to the 1980 season, and it was set by the Philadelphia Flyers, who got 35 consecutive points in 35 consecutive games. Interestingly enough, the Flyers went on to lose in the Stanley Cup Finals, which, alright, good for them, because I hate Philly. I'm a Penguins fan all the way. So, if the Blackhawks can keep this up for 8 more games, they will have the NHL record, which is very impressive. I don't care what sport you're in, you're always going to see at least one regulation loss in the column. I don't care what sport you're in. Even if you have a little side tally, you're going to see at least one regulation loss. And they haven't had one, and that's very impressive. They almost lost last night in regulation. I will give Detroit this. They've had some really close. I will give Chicago this. They've had some really close games in their past couple games, and they've fought back to tie it up and force a shootout. Even though they lost in the shootout, they still got that point. So I give them credit because they're on a hot streak. When will it stop? Nobody knows. That's the beauty about sport. Anybody can win on any given day of any given season against any given team. And that's obvious by last year's Stanley Cup Finals. You had the 8th seed, the Los Angeles Kings, versus the number 6 seed, the New Jersey Devils. So, I mean, obviously, that was, and 8 and 6 are close to, 8 is the last seed possible, and 6 is second to last possible. So, that was a major underdog story for those two teams. Gonna talk about the Penguins now. Malkin got hurt playing against Florida. He suffered what they're considering a concussion, but Dan Bylsma, the head coach of the Penguins, said that there was no concussion-like symptoms after the game, and none during the game. Right after he was taken off the ice, but they put him on injured reserve with a concussion. But good news is he's skating with the players. I believe he has been cleared for contact, and all he has to do is pass his impact test, which an impact test is basically saying that he's not going to get hurt if he gets hit real hard again. Or, if he does get hurt, it's very limited. It's not going to make him worse. It's not going to life-threaten him or end his career, which is what I think they should have done with Crosby whenever he got injured 2 years ago. Now, the Penguins play, I believe, Tampa Bay tomorrow, or later today. I honestly don't know how that game's going to go because I don't know who's going to be in net. If you got Thomas Vokoun in net, we're screwed. His first few games of the season, he looked real promising, and I was really excited. I thought, all right, he'll only have 5 losses this entire season. Since then, I believe he's lost 4 games. In the last 2 games that I've seen him play, he's let up a total of 12 goals. 6 to the Philadelphia Flyers and 6 to the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday. Alright, now, that's ridiculous. That's going back to Bayern Munich, scoring 6 goals in 1 game. No goalie should let up 6 goals in a game. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're, I don't know, I don't care if you're suffering from vertigo or you're paralyzed from the waist down. And if somebody's watching this and you're paralyzed, I'm not being offensive. I don't mean to be offensive. It's just, it shouldn't happen. So, if Vokoun's in the net, we're screwed. And without Malkin, we haven't been struggling that bad on offense. I mean, we won our last game 7-6, but it should have never been that close. Vokoun should have stopped a couple of the goals, and he should have stopped a couple against the Flyers, even though we had Malkin for that game. And we still lost 6-5 because of Vokoun. I blame Vokoun for everything. And congratulations, Thomas Vokoun. If you happen by chance to watch this, you are my most hated person in the galaxy right now. I don't ever want to see you. So I think this game's close, no matter what happens. If Fleury's in net, I see it being a low-scoring game. I see Tampa maybe scoring 1-2 goals. I see Pittsburgh winning this either 2-1 or 3-2, maybe 4-2 if they have an empty net goal. So in hockey, that's pretty much all I want to talk about in hockey. Gonna move on to basketball. Right now, basketball, the main topic right now is LeBron James doing pregame dunks. His call out by Magic Johnson in the Heat's hot streak. Alright, I'll start out with LeBron's dunks. LeBron is doing dunks in pregame warm-ups, alright, that should easily win him a dunk contest, the slam dunk contest. I don't know what you get if you win it. I don't know what you get if you participate. But he's performing masterful dunks, and it's beautiful. Yesterday, during his game against the Knicks, towards the end, I believe it was with 24.9 seconds left in the game, he stole the ball, went on a fast break. Nobody even chased him down. He just posterized the Jordan symbol. I mean, as close as you can get to that symbol, LeBron hit it. I mean, it was beautiful. You couldn't criticize it. He impressed me. Alright, that dunk was beautiful. And I don't like LeBron, but I will give him this. What he has been doing is masterful. But Magic Johnson called him out, said you should do the dunk contest. If he does, Johnson will give him $1 million. Why LeBron needs another $1 million, I don't know. But LeBron's giving this some thought. My thought for you, LeBron, if you do the slam dunk contest, give that $1 million to somebody in the stands, please, because you don't need it. You have a contract. You're making money. You probably made that last night in your game. So, just give it away. You don't need it. Now they're on a winning streak of 14 games. Last night I thought they were finally going to lose. Yeah, I didn't catch the game. I forgot it was on. They were down by 11 to the New York Knicks. And the Knicks are a good team, and I thought the Knicks were going to win it. But they did not win it. LeBron said hell with it and turned on the heat, no pun intended, and just went ballistic, and they came from behind. Although I will say this, LeBron had 2 other nasty dunks on the Knicks last night. At one point, he lobbed a ball to Wade, who was halfway down the court, and he spread it past everybody. Sorry. Sprinted down the court. Again, apologize. Sprinted down the court at 21.2 miles per hour and caught the alley-oop from Wade. Then, again, Wade to LeBron for another alley-oop. And that one was just sick nasty because he went over people, he flew high, and he slammed it down. He owned that rim last night. He owned it. He owned it. Alright, I don't care if you like LeBron, I don't care if you hate LeBron. You have to respect the fact that he is on fire. The Heat team is on fire, and there is not a doubt in my mind that they will repeat. Because they will repeat. They have everything in place to repeat. And I don't foresee them losing in the next 5 games. I don't see it happening. I think maybe they lose on their 20th game. I think pressure gets a little too hot. It gets a little too intense on them, and they lose. Hopefully they don't, because if they do, I'll feel bad because I jinxed them. But yeah, Heat are unstoppable right now. Now I'm going to jump over to NASCAR. Y'all are probably thinking, well, why is this kid going to NASCAR? It's not a sport. Well, to me it is a sport. Where I come from is a small town, and 90% of that population watches NASCAR, and I'm one of them. I'm a huge fan of NASCAR. Daytona 500 was last week, and Danica Patrick sat on the pole, first woman to hold the pole at Daytona. She was also the first female to lead a lap at Daytona, and she also recorded the best finish by a woman in a NASCAR race, finishing 8th. She was running third on the last lap, but nah, she tried to make a move and nobody went with her. She felt bad, but I'll tell you what, she can race on restricted plates. Now this week was Phoenix. She qualified 40th, which is three spots from dead last. I don't think she has talent on anything but restricted plates, but that's just my opinion. I think anybody can go out and race on a restricted place. All you got to do is to get up to full speed, hold the throttle wide open, and know when not to hit a car, and know how to drive. The winner of Phoenix was Carl Edwards. First win in over 2 seasons, 70 races. That's a long drought. I don't care who you are, that's long. Michael Waltrip went longer, but you know what? He has 2 Daytona 500s in his repertoire, so I can't really say he's the worst driver anymore. I used to say that all the time. I used to say he was worthless, but he has 2 Daytona 500s, so he won. And so I say, congratulations to Carl Edwards. Next week's Las Vegas. Now Carl's win at Phoenix was his second Phoenix win, and last time he won at Phoenix, he ended up winning the next week. Next week is Vegas, a track where Roush cars do well, and if you don't follow NASCAR, Carl Edwards drives for Roush. So I say Carl Edwards wins. Not only is he riding a hot streak right now, even though he had a terrible week at Daytona, he lost 5 cars at Daytona, which is terrible. Which is probably like millions of dollars. Well, it is millions of dollars, but he has a crew chief that has known success there. He has Jimmy Fenton, who used to crew chief for Matt Kenseth, who always ran well there. So I give Carl Edwards the best odds to win. If he doesn't win, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Matt Kenseth or another Roush driver. So look for a Roush driver or Matt Kenseth to win if Carl Edwards does not win, and if he doesn't win, I'll be very surprised. Now I'm going to go to the main reason why I started this video in the first place. This morning I was watching Sports Center. It was on, so I watched it. I normally watch it later in the afternoon, but I'm glad I watched it now because they were talking about Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the National Football League. And they showed a statistic that 61% of the players in the NFL disapprove of what Goodell's doing. So that means only 39% of the players agree with him. Now, the main problem I have with this is the fact that he's changing the sport and making it not what it's supposed to be. Alright, when he went into the bounty case again with the Saints, there was a problem there. I agree that, you can't have a bounty system, which is a pay to perform or a pay to injure. Alright, if a player knocks out a player that they have a bounty on, if I knock out, injure, the player gets paid. Excuse me. And the Saints had one. Alright, the one player, Anthony Hargrove, was accused of being part of it, even though there was no real evidence that he was. And the interesting fact about that is, when they investigated it, they had no idea. They had no intention of interviewing any other player other than Hargrove for being involved in it, because they interviewed him and only him for the play that he was suspected, that they said proved that he was part of the bounty system. So I see a little bit of bias on Goodell's part there. So that's why I think of Goodell. I honestly think Goodell's a piece of shit. I honestly think that he should not be in control of the NFL. I think he's ruining the sport, and I think he's letting certain teams get away with a little bit of too much. A lot. They're getting away with a lot. When the Patriots and the Ravens met in the AFC Championship game, I didn't know who was going to win because they're the most two favorite teams by the refs. And interesting fact here. When they were looking for a new commissioner, the owner of the New England Patriots, Robert Kraft, pushed hard for Goodell to get in there. So, you gotta look at that, and then you have to look at the fact that the Patriots are getting away with bullshit. They're getting more than lucky, and they pretty much dominated since Goodell came into the league. Even without Tom Brady, they had a decent season. I think they won 10-6 without Tom Brady, which is, unheard of to have a backup quarterback come in and do 10-6, especially for a quarterback like Tom Brady, who didn't miss a start up until that point. It's ridiculous. Just flat out ridiculous. Just fun fact. My friend's dad, he actually did my local newspaper does like a sports selection thing, like a game selection for the NFL. He sat through and he picked teams to win that would help the Patriots. If a team would win because a team would win and it would hurt the Patriots, he didn't pick them. He picked the opposite team, and he got all but one right that week. And I think the game he got wrong it had nothing to do with the Patriots. So I'm just saying, it could be a massive coincidence, but got that out there. There's a little bit of a conspiracy theory from it. Alright. Another major thing in the NFL right now, Joe Flacco signs a record deal. So it's a massive contract. I think it works out to $120.6 million over 6 years. In 2016, he's set to make $29 million that season. Now, obviously, they'll restructure the deal by then. If they don't, they're retarded, because I don't think Joe Flacco's ever going to win another Super Bowl. I don't foresee the Baltimore Ravens. I can see the Baltimore Ravens getting there, but I don't foresee them winning. Alright. I'm going to cover Manti Te'o, actually, because right now, I feel bad for the guy. He has a poor scouting combine, which is where all the players from college football come in. It's a massive event, and all the scouts from the NFL and all the head coaches and the general managers assemble to assess players that are going to be drafted by them, potentially can be drafted by their teams. And Te'o had bad outing. Teo to me is a pure athlete. He's as close to a Trey Polamalu as you're going to get, other than Polamalu's speed. Manti Te'o has a pure instinct for football, and if he doesn't go first round, I'm going to be very upset because he deserves to go first round. Even if he does have a bad scouting combine, it's not the end of the world. He can still play football, and he proved that over 4 years. I mean, he was a Heisman finalist. A defensive player being a Heisman finalist doesn't happen very often. I mean, you got Charles Woodson, the only defensive player to ever win a Heisman, and he's now a free agent. Coincidence? I think not. But, I mean, Manti Te'o, you're a great player. Your off-field issues with your fake girlfriend, who turned out to be fake and turned out to be a dude, should not affect you at all. If it does, that's a little horseshit. That's pretty much all I have to do and talk about sports right now. So I'm going to throw this in here because my friend wanted me to talk about it. Obviously, if you're watching this from a different country and you actually watched to this point, if you actually watched to this point, I'll be impressed. Because I'm going to be honest with you, this is the longest video I've ever done, and it's approaching a half hour. And I don't know why I've gone on for a half hour. Gun policy right now in America is going rapid because of all the school shootings, which I think is horseshit. I honestly think if they end up trying to regulate and take away our guns in America, there's going to be another civil war. Because I can speak for myself, and I can speak for a couple other of my friends in Pennsylvania. If they try to take our guns, we're not going to let it happen. And I can guarantee you in the South, where they hunt to survive and need their weapons to survive, they are going to revolt, and it will be another civil war. Do I blame Obama? I can't blame Obama 100% because, I mean, he's just doing what he needs to do to keep the country at peace, but at the same time, he's creating a problem by trying to take guns away. Guns don't kill people, in my honest opinion. People kill people. And I saw a meme on Facebook the one day, and it said this: if guns kill people, does that mean? If guns kill people, does that mean toast doesn't toast toast? Hold on. If guns kill people, does that mean toast toast? Toasters don't toast toast, the toast toast toast? Which is basically saying that an inanimate object does all the work. I mean, I have 2 shotguns and a hunting rifle. I'm still alive, so if guns kill people, I'm pretty sure I'd be dead right now. This is all because of school shootings with assault rifles. Even if they don't have assault rifles, there's going to be a knife, or a crossbow, or a compound bow that somebody's going to use to kill people. Sure, the casualty rate's lower, but you know what? Doesn't matter. People are still going to die. Now, my honest opinion for schools, have a gun in the school, but have it set up so that only the principal can get access to it. Have it locked away in a safe that needs a thumbprint that you have to scan. And have the key in a little box, little glass box like they have like fire detectors in, that you have to break open, and when it breaks open, it sends off an alarm to the police over their radio saying that there is a gun in the school. Alright? So that the police know exactly when to react. I think it was in Missouri. A teenager walked in with a gun and was about to shoot up the school when the assistant principal walked out to his car, grabbed his gun, which he is licensed to carry, walked in, pointed the gun at the student with the gun, and said, "I dare you to start shooting." Didn't hear about it because, you know what? Nobody died. Nobody died. Because it was resolved by the fact that somebody in that school had a gun and had the balls to go get it and use it to defend everybody in that school. And to me, that assistant principal is a hero. Alright? And that's just my opinion on guns. And the whole reason why I'm covering this is my friend in England wanted me to do this. Toby, I'm doing this for you. This is one and only time that I'm gonna do this ever. Not talk about sports on this. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, guns are a necessity. Guns are needed for protection. If somebody breaks into my house, I'm shooting them. I mean, I'm not gonna go, oh my god, and throw a cup of hot water in his face and hope that he stops. I'm gonna grab my gun. I'm gonna shoot him. And if if it's a problem, it's not my fault. In Pennsylvania, a guy, this was a sad story. He got drunk and he was going home. He got a taxi ride home, and he thought he was at his house. The taxi let him out what he thought it was his house, but it was his neighbor's house. And he went to get in, and his key wouldn't work. So he started pounding on the door. And when he pounded on the door, the owner of the house, his neighbor, ended up shooting him, I think, 12 times with a shotgun. Obviously the guy ended up not making it, but that's a sad mistake. But at the same time, the guy was defending his house. He thought his house was truly being robbed, or trying to be broken into. And I can understand, and I can sympathize with that. So, guns are useful, but at the same time, they're deadly if there's a mistake. Do we need guns? Yes. Should we take them away? No. Should they be regulated? Yes. I do think we need tighter regulations on the guns. I think we need to do a better job of keeping track of who has the guns. I mean, obviously, you're not going to foresee a psychopath, buying a normal person can go out and buy a gun. All of a sudden, one bad thing happened, and his traumatic event happened in his life, and him snap. Actually, a story that hits home for me. In high school, my school nurse, she was the sweetest lady I ever knew. Her son killed her, shot her. He never had, not to my knowledge, he never had a problem with, shooting somebody before, but on that day, he felt the need to shoot somebody, and it just happened to be his mom, and that lady was the nicest lady I ever met. Hits home. I mean, obviously, you can't foresee stuff like that happening. And if you're going to punish America for mistakes of psychopaths, there's a problem, because obviously we're not all psychopaths. If we were all psychopaths, nobody would be alive right now. Everybody would be dead in America. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I mean, again, this was not really rambling. This was more structured than my other ones, but forgive me. I haven't slept yet. I have been up since noon yesterday. I don't know what time it is now. I'm guessing it's about 9 o'clock, 9:30. I don't know. It's more structured, and I don't know why. But that's my thoughts. That's what's going on for me in the sports world anyway. If you guys have any requests or any suggestions of what you want me to cover, as long as it deals with sports or is relative to sports, I'll gladly cover it. If you want to know my opinion. Like I said, this is my third video. Hoping to keep doing this, and I will keep doing this as long as people, tell me they like it or they want me to do more. So, like the video, comment. If you feel the need and want to, subscribe to me. Like I said, I will keep posting videos. And share it. More importantly, that's all I care. That's what I would like you to do. Share it. I want to touch a wider base than just my friends on Facebook and my friends that know who I am. I want to touch the world. To the people in the Czech Republic who watched me in New Zealand, I'm surprised, and I thank you. That was a great surprise to me when I got on and saw that people had actually viewed it from other countries around the world who had no idea who I was. So, I thank you. Keep tuning in. Like I said, like the video, comment the video, share and subscribe it. That's all I have to say. Until next time, guys. Peace out.